Okay, guys, I'm really sorry. There's some technical. I will get Juniper on again. Just give me a moment. Juniper, are you there? I am so sorry, guys, for all the technical glitches happening today. Just waiting for Juniper to get on board again. Some issues with connectivity.
Yeah, Juniper.
Yes, so are we back? All right, seems
The
like quite.
internet doesn't seem to be in our favor today.
I don't know which of it is iffy. Is it my internet connection or yours? I don't know, but it's bothering us quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
I, so,
Anyway,
yeah.
so first the role that we need to play is probably, stop shaming the person who is actually approaching a mental health professional to seek advice, to seek help, to seek therapy. Second thing is probably we as responsible people in the
Yeah.
society, what we need to do is encourage people to go seek support. Okay. Just like how normally we would do. If at all I knew that I have a pain in my back and I know that physiotherapy would help, would I not go ahead and tell a friend of mine that, you know what, I seek physiotherapy from XYZ and it helped me. So it's when physical health can be so normally spoken of with anybody and given advices to anybody, why cannot mental health also get the same equal place in the society? I think yes. So encouraging people to go seek help is also another role that we as a society need to play. Probably the other thing what we can do is educate ourselves about illnesses. Illness doesn't come at a set period in time or to a set section of people. Mental illnesses or mental challenges,
Yes.
emotional challenges could happen to anybody at any point in time. If you were to take the pandemic in itself, I see a spike rate of consultation, people coming in for consultation have gone high. Initially, where I used to
Yes.
talk to probably 5 or 6 people over a week. These days I speak to at least 3 people a day. So you can see that significant increase in the
Yeah.
number of people who are actually wanting to get help. Because I think uh, given into consideration the kind of times that we are living in, if we are not educated enough about what mental health could do to us and what mental issues each one of us could face, it can only have a tragic end towards the end of it. Okay. Now I see a lot of celebrities also coming forward and they're talking about importance of mental health. So now that I see as something really positive. We saw Deepika Padukone, one of the famous Bollywood actresses, has fought depression, has spoken so much about mental health and the effect that it's having. I think we need more and more people to come forward and talk about it. Um, I remember a quote about by Michelle Obama, wherein she said that whether illness affects your heart or your leg or your brain, it's still an illness, and there should be no distinction. So wisely said, isn't it?
Yes.
Whether it hurts any affects any part of your body, it needs no distinction at all, and it needs an actual equal treatment. Across all kind of problems. So yes, these are some things that
Probably more. I mean, what is a human being without the mind, right?
absolutely.
So probably more attention to our
Yes,
minds.
you're
And
right. You're right. Yes, Surbhi. Do we have any questions coming in from people, or we go ahead?
so, no, we can go ahead. I don't see any questions right now.
Okay. So I think even during a conversation, you also spoke to me about, what are some of the challenges that we as parents, these days typically face having children, with us. Yes, as I said earlier, being a parent isn't easy. It's always like you're walking on the tight rope. So abbreviated, we as parents do not know how to take care of our children, how to build that stronger bonds with our children. There are three primary reasons what probably I could list out in my mind when we were talking about it. The first thing that parents are why parents are unable to probably build that bond with children is because parents these days have competitors for their own attention. If we see a couple of decades
Yes.
ago, for parents, for new parents like me, like you, or a lot of them, uh, getting attention from their children wasn't so much of an issue. And if at all it was an issue, the competitors who could probably grab attention would be the grandparents or favorite uncles and aunties, or favorite friends or neighbors, or some toys. But these days, I think the prime competitors for parents' attention have become, their peers or the computer or video games or cell phones, televisions, gadgets. All of these are ranking probably top on the list. And hence, most often parents
Yes.
are barely able to get any quality time with their children. So even if I kind of, force my child to sit along with me and have a meaningful conversation, the child would give me time, but maybe no thought or no interest in having a conversation. So that is one biggest challenge that
Absolutely.
probably we as parents are facing these days. Another problem that we as parents are
Yeah.
facing is that parents are extremely fragmented. We are so caught up in so many duties. We are so tied up in so many things that we are doing. This perpetual motion of work to my responsibilities to financial matters. And between all of these, I'm actually trying to squeeze some quality time for my children. And that is one of the reasons why a lot of times even parenting becomes or seems like a task. I speak to a lot of my friends who tell me, you know what, Juniper, I have so many things to do. I have to take care of my household stuff. I have to catch up on work, and amidst all of this, my child somewhere is neglected. That is another challenge that most of we as parents are facing. um, One other, I think, bigger than any other challenge that each parent is facing these days, is this parent perfection lessons or parenting style lessons that we get. That has become a huge challenge, to a lot of parents. I was watching one of these web series called as Mentalhood, in which Karishma Kapoor plays a role. So while I was watching this entire series,
Yeah.
throughout there was just one statement that kept echoing on my mind, that everybody wants to be a perfect mother, a doting mother or a doting father image. And I think all of us is striving hard to carry that one perfect image, because of which a lot of parenting lessons or a lot of parenting routine is getting lost. Okay, parenting comes naturally to all
Mm-hmm.
living beings. And we as humans don't need to be taught how to be a doting mother or a doting father or a doting parent. Okay, because a perfect parent comes with
Absolutely. Yeah.
no formula or mantra. You need to be a perfect parent to your child. So it's just all about it. So if at all we parents are thinking of the different challenges that we are facing these days, I think we just need to take it a little easy, and we just have to think what my child needs, instead of thinking that how could I be a doting
Yes.
mother or a perfect mother, how could I have my child spread his or her tentacles into all directions. Rather than having to strive too hard, it's just good to take it a little easy.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's a very valid point. Yes. So I see a lot of people watching us, and if you have any queries and questions from Juniper, feel free to post them in the comments here, and Juniper will be happy to take those as well. So I think we've covered most of the issues, Juniper. I mean, I think we've also, in a way, spoken about destigmatizing mental illnesses and mental health. But there is, if there is anything else you would, you know, about the kind of work that you're doing in that field, and how to go about, how as a society we can do it at large, then do feel free to add pointers to that as well.
Sure, destigmatize. But I also want to draw a little attention of our parents, towards a few common problems that a lot of people have been, talking to me or have been approaching me for counseling, for, help around their children. There are three such problems which kind of top the list. One of them having to be, my child has too much of screen time. My child, second of them is, my child has terrible tempered issues. He needs anger management lessons. And the third having to, surface all of them, saying that, my child is, he has this extreme nature wherein, he or she denies to listen to what, um, I really, as a parent, want to drive home. So now, having to throw a little light on how we can deal with these three major problems. Uh, Now, talking about screen time, we remember that, in government of Karnataka kind of stopped the online classes for a while, considering the suggestions by a few, psychologists and doctors and educationists and all of the panel. While they stopped it, I was trying to, think about stop an online class. And while I was reading, I came across this very interesting article by the National Institute of Health, wherein it has indicated that how much time is enough time or good time for a child and how much time is bad time. Having to talk about good time, I will focus a little on bad time. So that in itself answers the good time as well. So the National Institute of Health has suggested or said that a child who spends more than 2 hours of screen time when tested had scored lower on language and thinking tests. So, so around 2 hours a day of screen time has lowered their scores on language and thinking tests. And both of these having to be probably the success factors in today's era, language and thinking skills. And it also further went on to say that, the children who spend around 7 hours or more a day, watching phone or television, um, they have found that cortex. Okay, the area of the brain related to critical thinking and reasoning was very subtly getting erased, or there's the thinning that's happening. So we can only understand how difficult or how terrible the effect of screen time is on children. For young children, especially kids who are under 3 years, development is happening extremely rapid in these children. And how are these children developing? Not by having to watch, rhymes on the TV or tab, or, not by having to listen to kids at family stories, which even I used when my child was young. But these children learn by exploring the environment, and they learn by having to watch adults, how they behave, they learn out of it, and also they try and imitate them. So, screen time is harmful given what may. Now, I also had some of the parents who came back to me and said, you know what, Juniper, just to, reduce the effects of screen time, we make sure that, the blue light is always on. If you heard of the blue light, which comes in as a protection to, when your child is focusing on the screen. So what most of the parents don't
Yeah.
realize is this blue light is also the same, holds the same function that the regulation of a body holds, the wake and sleep cycle holds the same function that the blue light holds, which means we are forcibly telling our brain by having to read or watch in a blue light that we are consciously disturbing the sleep and wake cycle. So you see the
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
impact that it's
Yeah.
going to have on a child. Now, a few simple things that probably I, as a parent, have done, or I would request parents who are facing this issue of excessive screen time by the children could do
Yes.
is make your child responsible. Give them simple tasks. Like, I'm a mother of a 6.5-year-old, so I know the challenge that practically kids of that age are going through, and parents of that age,
Absolutely.
kids of that age are going
Yes.
through. Give them simple tasks. Like, I give my son a task of once they're washed, or I give him a task of
Hmm.
filling up the water bottles after having to rinse them. So the simple tasks actually make them
Yes.
responsible, and also their time is getting divided. So these are some of those healthy practices.
Hmm.
We need to have activities which upbuild them. You know, excessive screen time has made our children express less. So expressions in children have also gone down. So simple activities or exercises like, showing facial expressions, we showing facial expressions and they having to recognize it, or, we having to do a little drama or a skit at home where they have to emote. These are things that can make a child more interested
Absolutely.
in these tasks than in probably watching television. The other one,
Yeah. So we have.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, if there is a question, we'll take it and then.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. So there's
Yeah.
other.
So there is another question, and
Uh-huh.
so there's a question asking that should counseling be made compulsory in schools to encourage children to come out of their shells? What are your thoughts on that?
Um, Counseling and having a school counselor is a mandate. So having a school counselor in every school has been made a mandatory arrangement by the government, and every school needs to have a school counselor. A school cannot operate without a school counselor, just like how a school cannot operate probably with a school coordinator or one of the office staffs or a principal, as a matter of fact. So having a school coordinator definitely is one of the requirements to run a school. Uh, but I see a lot of schools do not have one. So I think we as parents now need to start, speaking to the school authorities and asking for one.
Yes. That's a very relevant point. I mean, I'm sure a lot of parents may not be aware that it is a mandate. So we must also start demanding that, like we demand a lot of other things from schools. So this should also be,
Absolutely.
uh, if there is not a counselor, we should.
Yes.
Yes. So those are some great tips, Juniper, from you regarding how we can lessen the screen time. I mean, that's really, I think, one of the key challenges that we are facing, especially during lockdown times when they're not going out to play, and screens of any kind are the primary resort happening through the screens. So it eventually leads to increasing the screen
Absolutely.
time, if nothing else.
Absolutely.
So great tips. I think a lot of us will really benefit from these. I don't see any other questions. So I mean, I would, since we are also kind of running out of time, I would, in conclusion, if you can share something in just like um, uh, for our viewers right now.
Sure. Definitely. Is now coming in the forefront as one of those, it's coming out and people want to talk about it. People want to get themselves, sorted in their mental health. They want their kids to get sorted in their mental health. All that probably I would urge parents of children is that recognize those early signs in your child. It could be a very small, thing. Just be observant. Just be observant. A child wouldn't say that, Mama, I feel stressed, or, Dada, I'm feeling depressed today. A child probably would come and say to you that, I don't want to eat. I don't want to play. Or, if the child is craving for some attention, the child wouldn't say that, Mama, Dada, I want attention. The child would instead say that, I want to play with you. So these are the simple things that, a child would say in replacement to what he or she is feeling. So I think that is one of the most important things that we as parents have to look out for. I always tell a lot of parents who come to me that, trust your gut factor. If your gut factor says that, yes, my child probably has some issue, maybe learning or maybe focusing or maybe speaking, look for the right person who can help you with it. Seeking help on mental health should not be a shameful act, or should not be something that holds some kind of a stigma. I think it's high time that we should not really feel ashamed or stigmatic about going to a mental health a personnel who could help us, because mental health, depression, anxiety, phobias, all of these are extremely real. They are in our face. And I think it's high time we all recognize it. Okay. Initially, people used to say that mental health could be one of the reasons of something very mystical or superstitious or negative magical world that people create disturbances in. But I think no, mental health has proven over the years that it happens because of biological changes, and it's time that we confront it and we face it really bold and in the face.
Yes. It's very important to acknowledge that it is there. It is a genuine problem that requires help. Just like we would go to a doctor for, say, a cold or a flu, it needs to be addressed. Very important to address it.
Yeah. Surbhi,
So, thank you so much, Juniper. Yeah,
yeah. Surbhi,
yeah.
when you told
Please
me
go
that,
on.
I'm going to be doing a Facebook Live with TheiaScape, and, I'm going to be talking about the issues that we spoke of now, I kind of recalled a little poem that I had written, for when, I started off as a therapist. Could I read that out for you all?
Please do. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Yes. It says that as a therapist, I am
Yeah.
talking to my client, and this is the conversation that I'm having. It says that I see your pain, I see your fears. I see your state, I feel your tears. I see your struggle to strike a smile. I fight with your juggle to walk up a mile. Wake up, love, shake up that painful snuggle. Together we shall walk and kick all that trouble. This isn't your goal, it's just a black hole. Take my hand and give me yours. Together we'll say we've conquered all those flaws. So this is a little poem that I wrote.
Wow, that's wonderful.
This talks of a relationship of a
Wonderful.
therapist and a client. So we are in together in this battle.
Yeah. Yes, yes, absolutely. And I think we should be together as a society in it so that we can have a better place for ourselves, right? Where people feel included and not distanced, like we've been not be distanced emotionally
Very
from
true.
each other. We must be connected to everyone, right? Thank you so much, Juniper. It was lovely
Thank you
having
so much.
you, and some brilliant, brilliant tips from you. We really enjoyed it. And from all the comments that are pouring in, I can see that people have really
I'm
enjoyed
glad.
this. Thanks a lot. Yeah,
Sure.
thank
Thank you,
you.
Surbhi.
Okay, have a good
Yeah,
evening.
good evening. Bye
Bye
all.
bye.